Okay, here's another League of Legends post-game commentary coming your way, this time with Karma Top. And I will put out a disclaimer, I have been released from the hospital now, so I'm able to start recording again. I have a few games recorded already with no commentary, so I'm going to go back and get those. 2 Skarner, 1 Nocturne, 1 Shen, I believe. Right here I alt-tab to make sure everything was recording correctly. Main reason why I wanted to record this one is that Mundo is making a resurgence in popularity, and I kind of wanted to address how to deal with him. So, Yasuo mid against Talon, I'm Karma top against Mundo, we have Kindred in the jungle against Echo, Vayne partner with Blitzbot against Quinn and Nautilus. So I will put out a disclaimer, it's kind of hard for me to keep my breath, so there's going to be times where it seems like my sentences are trailing off until I can breathe in again, kind of like that.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
So one of the purposes for this video is I just want to see how well I can actually talk. I still have to record the ending to the Civilization game, so I'm hoping I'll be in better shape when the time comes for that.
Focus your wit and
Plus, I also wanted to make sure that my voice was somewhat stable for a ranked game. This isn't normal play. Basically, I want the ranked play to be somewhat higher quality than this one. Although, the disclaimer I do have to put out, though, is whenever I play ranked, more often than not, I go for the jungle position. So if you want to see some diversity, I'm afraid there's not much to be had. So I can try to talk about Kindred for a moment. I'm not entirely impressed. She thrives best in strong teamwork positions. Counter jungling is pretty much a team activity because you have to keep an eye on the other laners to make sure that no one comes in to basically seal off the escape route. And in solo queue, that's probably going to get you killed, but I've been hearing reports that she's actually fairly solid in the bot lane, since you can try to feed off of the AD carry and the support. Since there's 2 targets there, it's easier for you to get your stacks. Plus, if you can get lucky enough to get the Scuttle Crab in the bottom river to have your mark, then you can pretty easily pick up that for the free stack until you hit 6. So as for this line, I will put out a disclaimer real quick. The Yasuo is going to be getting most of the kills here. I almost kept up with him in damage. He did get a little bit more than me, so It's just, one of the things I like about Karma Top is you do have some team utility, which you'll see come into play when I have to try to help Yasuo or someone else, like Blitzcrank. You'll see what I mean later on. The other thing that I like about Karma is due to her movement speed. It's not too bad to try to leave lane. You can get out and back in more quickly. But as for this lane, the key thing is my first item is going to be a Morellonomicon, hopefully for obvious reasons. Key thing is the Grievous Wounds will cut into Mundo's ult, and will limit the amount of healing he can do. So speaking of teamwork, look at the minimap at Kindred. She wanted to go take the Wraiths, but Talon moved to intercept. She pinged for assistance. Yasuo is in no position to move, but I am. So I fire my Mantra Q at him. I root him in place so that he has to eat the auto attacks from both me and Kindred. She flashed to guarantee it, but I think with my last auto attack and the red buff he would have died anyway. It's just better playing it safe. Sadly, this is going to piss Talon off, and he's going to be coming top for revenge, but it's totally worth it. That's what I mean by Kindred thrives in teamwork situations. And ironically, she's also the only character I can think of that synergizes best with her hardest counters. The people who give her the hardest times are Tristana, Blitzcrank, Skarner, people with hard displacements. And the reason for that is that I can move her out of the ult. And the reason why these guys can synergize so well with her is because of their displacements. They can move people outside of her ult so that they no longer get the protection.
An enemy has been slain.
So out of those two Skarner games that I mentioned, Kindred is in both of them. You'll see what I mean when I get around to uploading those. Like I said, I want to make sure that my voice is more stable for when that time comes.
Enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
So you can see Talon got Blitz right there. Ironically, Quinn is going to be the one that ends up fed from their team, and you'll see an unfortunate trend for Quinn when I head mid. But for now, there isn't really much I can do to really bully Mundo. My best course of action is to try to get him under tower to miss CS. But the thing is, the way his cleavers work and his new E, it's actually fairly easy for him to last hit under tower, all things considered. For those that aren't aware, his new E is an auto attack reset, so he can cancel. Well, he can just get a clean auto attack out immediately. And then with all the free AD that comes with it, it just makes it even easier to last under tower. You just need to remember 2 tower shots, then 1 auto for the melee, and due to his free AD, he can actually just do the 1 tower shot, 1 auto for the caster minions. For the siege minions, best playing that by ear, but I'd definitely recommend cleavering them. And sadly, it's been so long since I played Mundo that I don't remember how his cleaver works. If you get a complete refund if it kills, or if it's just a half refund if it connects, period. But right here, there's no kill pressure in this lane for me on Mundo until I can get the Morello Nampa. Had I taken Ignite, that would be a different story, but it's not. Case in point right here. So he's gonna regen all that health, and I can't inflict grievous wounds just yet.
An ally has been slain.
Peace begins within.
Poor Blitz. But as you can see, for this team composition, my job is to serve as both an AP carry as well as like a utility character, which is what people love about Orianna, which is why I'm wondering why Karma isn't really catching on. She's a nice alternative to Lulu, since I get tired of seeing that Yordle so damn often. But then again, Lulu does have more utility with her shield and her ult being able to save. Well, with Karma, it's just you have your 1 shield and a hell of a lot of firepower. So right here, I hope it's a little obvious. Just last hit as best you can, generate some gold. I need to get as close to the Morello Namicon as I can before I go back. And you can see with that cleaver connecting, I have to go now. Once I get boots, it's much easier to dodge his cleavers, but for now, it's hit or miss. And for that reason, that's why I went for boots here instead of going for another amp tome. The extra amp tome would have been nice for a little bit more wave clear, but I think the Q has a 0.6 ratio until you put your mantra into it, so you'd only be getting, what, like 12 additional damage, which I don't actually think is enough as of this point.
One by one.
So I'm putting the next point into my W because the move does scale with the duration, and I just realized I forgot to go over how Karma works. Testament to how out of it I am. So, passive is gathering fire or something like that. It's basically you have ways to lower the cooldown on your ult, be it auto-attacking enemy or using an ability. So your Q is Inner Flame. It has the normal effect of being a linear skill shot. You just fire a fireball out, hit hits an enemy, explodes, dealing damage to stuff around it, etc., etc.
Together,
When
we shall
your
triumph.
ult is used, the Q changes to have a secondary explosion. That's that big circle you see on the ground whenever I do that. And when the ult is activated, it adds in something like,
Hope is the greatest
I don't know if it's 0.1 or 0.2 onto your ratio. And the second explosion will also deal the same amount of damage as the first. So that's why the move has a staggering 1.4 AP ratio, which is why Karma can be a very dangerous AP carry. I actually don't know if there are any spells that can top that, since, well, I don't know how Dark Matter is going to look once Riot gets done with Vagar. As for the W, I can never remember the name of the move, but it's a tether type ability. Does damage as every time it, like every second it
Ionia shall prevail.
exists. And if the enemy doesn't break it in time, then it will pop, and in doing so, it will root the enemy in place for a period of time, scaling with the rank of the move. Now, in case you're wondering, each tick of that W counts towards your passive, so that's why I really like to use it to get the mantra off cooldown that much more
Where the battle
quickly.
goes, so go I.
An enemy has been slain.
Now, here's where Talon gets his revenge. Do they? Yeah, they dive.
Slain.
Yeah, I'll be getting payback on them in a few minutes.
Your team has
Picking up where I left off, your W when under the effect of mantra will root the enemy for a little while longer, and it also has the secondary effect of healing you based off how much health you're missing. Right here I didn't see my team on the dragon, which is why I'm typing that. In case you're wondering, this was recorded Friday, I want to say. But it was a little bit before my health went off the deep end. Moving forward, your E is Defiance, or something like that. Key thing is it's a shield. By casting on an ally, you give them a surge of movement speed as well as the shield itself. The amount of movement speed that's given to the ally will scale with the rank of the move. The actual magnitude of the shield scales with the rank as well. And when you use mantra on this, right there's a secondary Q in case you didn't notice it before somehow. Like right now I need to damage Mundo to inflict grievous wounds, and there goes his ult. Sadly, the Echo ult is what killed me, but I don't know how the Echo ult interacts with grievous wounds, if I can actually weaken it or if it cleanses it or what. So E went under the effect of mantra. I'm pointing out right there, Kindred has no mana, that's why she couldn't ult. Otherwise, we had the means to totally screw them over, because if we can get them low enough, my spells will proc grievous wounds, which means the heal that they get from her ult at the very end will actually be for less. So it's just this weird little anomaly there where we would come out much, much better if she had the mana for her ult, but she didn't. Blitz right there is being a true pal by holding the minions in front of the tower for me, so that way they don't get denied. Costs Vayne a little bit, but I make Quinn pay for that for the rest of the game.
How noble.
An ally has been slain.
Sadly, I messed up so that I couldn't get all of them with a secondary Q, but at this point I pretty much have enough AP to really wave clear. I don't know if I can actually just nuke the back line. I think I have to auto-attack them each once before I can clear them.
To conquer oneself.
Right there you can see the damage Yasuo is doing, and it's going to be much worse when I'm giving him a shield to make him run faster. that will increase the amount of flow he generates. And I can also CC people to make it easier for him to land his knockup. And finally, in case you didn't get the gist of this from when I was explaining the rest of the moves, Karma's ult is basically a way to empower your other spells. The thing that I really don't like about it is that it still puts the spell itself on cooldown, so 2 spells go down instead of 1. This is in contrast to someone like LeBlanc who gets to dual cast. And I didn't actually look at the numbers to see if LeBlanc truly has some sort of edge in terms of it. She may have a bit of an unfair edge there that Riot's not really addressing. But as of Karma's last rounds of buffs, I definitely do like her more in the solo lane than before. For those that aren't aware, they changed the... Oh, here I come for Quinn. So they changed the way her ult interacts with her other spells to make them more effective, to give you more reason to use the ult for more than just the Q. So right here, Blitz lands the pull, I follow up with the tether. Right there is the Soulfire. That's the mantra Q, by the way. And we also pick up Nautilus. So a little bit of payback for Vayne.
Ionia shall prevail.
So right here I'm going to shield Blitz in Vayne, or I didn't get to shield him after all. And the Q went very, very wide, unfortunately. Sadly, at this stage, I don't actually have enough base mana regen to actually keep myself relatively topped off with just the Morellonomicon. It's not until you get to around like level 15 or so that you actually have enough. That's one of the mana changes that came in with Season 5, well, one of the numerous stat changes that came in with Season 5 that I wasn't really a fan of. Then again, before that, it really did just take you a grail to stay topped off in lane. So, for this game, my second item is going to be the Liandry's Torment, hopefully for a little bit of obvious reasons, but I'll explain. We do not have a tank. The closest thing we have is Blitzcrank and whoever I throw my shield onto. The enemy team, on the other hand, however, has Mundo and Nautilus. You could also argue Echo depending on how he builds, but I have a video on the channel showing that the AP Assassin build can be fairly effective, so I never rule out which way he'll go. And one thing I should point out on Kindred, since I may not get to go into detail about her, depending on when I can do that Skarner game, but you want to keep targeting the person who's feeding. Mundo is fairly tough to kill when I'm not around, or, well, Yasuo has Ignite, so they have that. But they pretty much need one of us around in order to kill him. Case in point, you can see right here, we lost Yasuo. I warped in to try to help them, but Kindred's barking up the wrong tree with Mundo. She'd be better off going for Talon, Quinn, Nautilus, Echo, pretty much anyone but Mundo. But in order to get something worthwhile out of this teleport, we opt to take Dragon. We probably should have taken the Romp first, because you can see Kindred has that marked. Blitz is pinging to tell Kindred, hey, go take that, it's free, we just forced them away, there's 4 of us here. We can win a fight if they try to push it.
Peace begins within.
If they try to push their luck. So right here I was kind of hoping someone would help pinch in Nautilus, because he'd be a pretty easy kill.
Victory is assured.
Just wasn't meant to be, I guess. But as for the Liandry's Torment, the reason why I want that is because it's very good for killing tanks, as well as it's a source of magic penetration. So I can cut through Mundo's Spirit Visage more easily, and I can just burn through the tanks. Vayne herself is pretty good at that, it's just I'm basically building it to serve as icing on the cake. It's definitely not fun to play Mundo when your opponent builds these two items first. My third item was planned to be a death cap, but you can see from the length of the game that it's not going to get there. I think I actually did have enough gold to finish it by then, it's just I didn't want to go back. Sadly, if you notice, Echo has... I think he has Merc Treads, so otherwise I'm not sure how he got out of my W so quickly. Pretty much the reason why I want more points in the W right off the bat is so that I can keep the enemy rooted in place so that the Soulfire is a guaranteed connect.
They will not crush our spirit.
Your turret has been destroyed.
So right there, Quinn died, and you'll see what I mean by Mundo's poor luck here. So they can't really hurt him right now because he's healing so much, but they're keeping his health low enough so that when I get here, I'm inflicting grievous wounds so he isn't healing anymore. I give my shield to Yasuo, and there's the execute. And based off of that fight, you can see 3 of them are dead. That's pretty much the green light for us to go ahead and just take the mid inner turret.
Onward, always.
Poor Talon. He made a huge mistake by roaming up top, well, trying to cut off Kindred's counter jungling. Because once he died, that set him behind against Yasuo, and Yasuo was able to bully him from then on. To make things worse, if you didn't notice, he has a Sword of the Divine, so he was banking on being able to snowball, but I haven't seen a Talon do that in a long time. So I have enough for the Blasting Wand, but not enough to finish the Leandries. I was hoping I would be able to get this, but Yasuo showed up, and it's generally frowned upon to take an entire wave's worth of CS. Still, that gave me enough to get the Leandries, so I can go ahead and get that. And it definitely sucks to be Mundo now. It'll get worse once I could get the Death Cap or the Void Staff. It's just... you won't see that in this game. But the key thing to take away from this game is just, if you go up against a Mundo and you want to know how to really ruin his day, Morello Leandries. And here's that trend. It's gonna happen again, in case you're wondering.
Focus your wit.
Sadly, I'm not really strong enough to take on all of them. Since Karma doesn't have a true ult, it's a little bit harder to fight large groups like that. Due to the single target nature of her W and her E,
Together, we shall triumph.
Karma is much better suited as a duelist rather than just a straight up brawler, but that's where her Q comes into play.
Victory is assured.
So right here I'm going to try to pressure the top lane. I can basically siege the top inner to try to force a reaction to come to me. One thing that I don't have to worry about Talon is that if I can connect my W to him before he pops his ult, I can see him while he's stealthed. And I can follow up with the other moves of mine, like right here I think I'll show them.
An ally has been slain. And
No, he gets away. Damn.
Hope is the greatest ally.
So hopefully you can see how Quinn is starting to get kind of fed. She is the one with the most kills at the end, and unfortunately every time she runs into me she gets blown the hell up. So right there I forced the the Echo ult. Mundo used his ult just to try to get into lane to save Echo, because if not for that I probably would have killed him. But still, if Mundo sticks around right now, I can kill him because his ult is down for 1 minute. And if I can land my W, that's really all it takes to kill him. Now, if you want to know what I mean, the W will proc the Leandries each tick of the spell. So, you are going to get something like 5 ticks, plus the lingering burn afterwards. Now, the real problem is that W is CC, so that Leandry's effect gets doubled for those last few seconds. And just like that, you can see how much health I can take out of Mundo. As I auto-attack him and hit him with my spells, I actually can kill him before his ult comes back up.
Onward, always.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. A summoner has been
Sadly, Kindred will not be coming back.
An enemy has been slain.
But that's some neat trivia for you guys. If you didn't know Karma is a dot mage, she actually is. So right there, the Grievous Wound was applied to Mundo. I'm out of mana here, which is why I went ahead and flashed. If not for the whole being out of mana part, that actually would have been a fun fight, I think. I could have used the Mantra W to bait a big heal. That would have also led to a much stronger Leandry's proc. And I might have been able to get a kill.
To conquer oneself is to conquer all.
But now I'm back, Mundo knows who's boss, and you can kind of see how much easier it is to dodge his cleavers. If you want to make it even easier, you could build Luden's Echo. It's something I was considering, but it's just due to the nature of the game, I don't really need the pushing power. If I were to build it, it'd actually been just for the movement speed. Although Luden's is actually a decent item on Karma, just because she could use the bonus AP ratio just due to not having a true ult. You may be forced to use your mantra for the W or the E instead of the Q, which is where all of Karma's burst lies.
Is the greatest ally.
So once I had 3 points of the shield, I was comfortable enough with the movement speed and the magnitude of the shield to go ahead and max the W. Now I think when I use the mantra W, and it actually does proc, it's a 3-second root. So it's up there with the Dark Binding and the Crystal Arrow for the longest CC in the game. It's just, you don't always want to use it for the W, but when you're playing Karma support, it can actually be very handy for kill lanes, because you can just hold someone down while Graves or someone else beats the crap out of someone. Sadly, I was so busy taking the tower I didn't make it in time for this fight. We lost Blitz and Yasuo.
Victory is a
And that's a bit of a setback because the Yasuo is our really, really fed guy. My job's to bust tanks. Particularly Mundo. So right there you can see our AFK Kindred, but the game is pretty much in our pocket at this point. In case you're wondering what I'm talking about, Talon went for this real glass cannon build, and assassins when behind are actually absolutely worthless. So, up here comes the next Quinn explosion. So it's technically a 4v4 because you could argue they don't really have a mid laner themselves. Poor Quinn. Here comes the funny part. Watch her vault. Right back into the Soulfire. Had she not vaulted, she probably would have lived. Now, even though I'm half health, I don't have to worry about an upcoming fight because I can use my Mantra W for that clutch heal. Plus, right here, I need to help Yasuo. So you can see the Grievous Wound is on Mundo. Once that's there, Yasuo can kill him easily. Blitz lands the pull, I follow up with the tether, and it's just that easy. Now with the Leandries and Vayne, we can definitely burn this Baron down. I wanted to try... I don't know if I tried the Mantra W to see if I could heal off the Baron, but there I go. Yeah, I can. So, yeah, I can do that. Good to know. Anyway, 3 minutes left. I don't have enough to finish the death cap right here, but I figure I might be able to kill Talon. I could use that gold to come back and finish the death cap, but it's just not the case. But as I was saying, due to how far behind Talon is, it's technically a 4v4. And at this point, if I can just help Yasuo and Vayne, it's pretty much in our pockets. Here, Nautilus is just horribly out of position. Not entirely sure that was worth the last breath, but maybe he felt it was.
Victory is assured.
So, right here is the game ender. Since the minions are lined up instead of grouped up, I can't actually pick them off with my Q as easily. But that doesn't really matter for Yasuo's static shiv. If I had Ludens, that wouldn't be an issue, it's just wasn't that game. Usually for the Ludens, you want it to be one of your first 2 items or your last item. Oh, almost forgot. Hey Quinn, guess what time it is? So, since Talon is such a non-issue, we don't have any incentive to chase him down. It's these two we have to worry about. So, Blitz landed the pull, I connect the tether onto Echo to inflict grievous wounds, just in case I can limit his ult. And right here, I'm just trying to get the grievous wounds on Mundo to limit his sustain. I go ahead and kill Nautilus with the W, I miss the Mantra Q. But with as much CDR as I have, like right here I'm going to tank the tower for Yasuo as well as grievous wounds, of course. And that's the end of the game. So, Taste of Kindred, you get a window into what my health is like, and another game to hopefully hold you guys over a bit longer. Almost forgot. Quinn, it was that time again. So I hope you guys enjoyed, despite how choppy my voice may be. I'm the Hero of Light, thanks for watching, and goodbye.